Microsoft might be bleeding Windows customers faster than any of us imagined. There's been no shortage of controversies surrounding the not door operating system, spyware, ads, bad updates, and the like, and while there's been a vocal opposition complaining about these things, the operating system percentages have mostly stayed the same. Linux and macOS might be getting a few more users, but there hasn't been a revolution in the PC industry, which is why it's so curious that Microsoft just hinted that they lost nearly 500 million Windows users. They are now only claiming to have over 1 billion users instead of the 1.4 billion that they claimed just 3 years ago. Speculation is that computers are just dying out, not that the penguin is finally dominating the world. Most people do their daily tasks on a phone or a tablet and have little need for anything more robust. So even if the market share is the same percentage, Microsoft's just gobbling up the same size of a smaller pie.
ASUS, the world's fourth largest PC manufacturer, makes an announcement that represents the final nail in Windows' coffin. Effective immediately, ASUS is eliminating Windows pre-installation on 100% of their consumer and gaming laptop lineup, not reducing it, not offering alternatives, eliminating it completely. Every ASUS laptop from budget VivoBook to premium ZenBook to high-end ROG gaming systems will ship with Linux as the only pre-installed operating system. Windows is available as optional purchase, but customers must buy it separately for $149 and install it themselves. ASUS ships 24 million PCs annually. That's 12% of global market. With ASUS joining Lenovo, 68 million units, 100% Linux. Dell, 50% Linux of 46 million units. And HP, 40% Linux of 52 million units. The industry transformation is complete. 94% of PC manufacturing capacity is now Linux default, or Linux only. Windows pre-installation has collapsed from 82% market share in 2023 to 6% in mid-2026. That's not gradual decline. That's market collapse in 36 months. ASUS CEO S.Y. Hsu didn't hold back in the announcement. Windows 11 is destroying our brand. Customer satisfaction scores for Windows laptops are 28% catastrophically low. Linux laptops score 86%. Our customers don't want Windows. They actively dislike it. Microsoft had 3 years to fix Windows 11's quality problems. They chose not to. We cannot continue selling products that disappoint our customers and damage ASUS's reputation. Every metric, customer satisfaction, returns, support costs, profitability, demonstrates Linux is superior choice. Windows is finished in consumer PCs. This is the cracking Bill Gates feared, not gradual erosion. Catastrophic structural failure. The 4 largest PC manufacturers have abandoned Windows. The ecosystem that built Windows dominance has rejected it completely. Microsoft's consumer Windows revenue has collapsed 91% from $22 billion in fiscal 2023, and Bill Gates, watching the empire he built crumble because current Microsoft leadership prioritized everything except product quality, understands this is irreversible. The Windows empire isn't cracking. It already cracked. The collapse happened, and there's no rebuilding from this. The ASUS decision that completed the industry exodus. ASUS was the holdout. Dell announced Linux first in May 2025. HP followed in July 2025. Lenovo went 100% Linux in April 2026. Industry analysts expected ASUS to resist longer, maybe maintain 50% Windows to serve customers who specifically wanted it. Instead, ASUS went even more extreme than Lenovo. 100% Linux elimination of Windows completely. No hedging, no exceptions. The decision came from comprehensive data analysis spanning 18 months. ASUS tracked every customer interaction, satisfaction score, return, and support ticket for both Windows and Linux laptops from January 2025 through May 2026. Customer satisfaction was the decisive metric. ASUS surveys customers at 7 days, 30 days, and 90 days after purchase. Windows 11 laptops scored 43% satisfaction at 7 days. Initial excitement with new hardware, 31% at 30 days. Windows issues emerge, 28% at 90 days. deep dissatisfaction sets in. That 28% 3-month satisfaction is lowest ASUS has ever recorded for any product category. Less than 1/3 of customers are satisfied. More than 2/3 regret their purchase. Linux laptops scored 81% satisfaction at 7 days, 85% at 30 days, 86% at 90 days. Satisfaction increases over time as users become comfortable with Linux and appreciate reliability. The gap between Windows 28% and Linux 86% at 90 days is 58 percentage points. ASUS's board reviewed these numbers in May 2026. The CEO's recommendation was unambiguous. We cannot sell products that 72% of customers dislike. That's business suicide. Eliminate Windows immediately. Return rates reinforce the decision. ASUS's global return data for January-May 2026. Windows laptops 14.3% returned within 30 days. Linux laptops 2.4% returned. 6 times difference. Each return costs ASUS $79 average. Processing, shipping, refurbishing, reselling at discount. On 24 million annual units, if half were Windows at 14.3% return rate, 1.72 million returns, costing $136 million. At 2.4% Linux return rate, 288,000 returns, costing $23 million. Switching entirely to Linux saves $113 million annually just in return processing. Support costs were catastrophic for Windows. ASUS's support infrastructure spans phone, email, chat, and social media. Windows laptops generated 3.4 support contacts per unit over ownership period. Linux laptops generated 0.51 contacts, nearly 7 times difference. Average support interaction costs ASUS $37 staffing, systems, overhead distributed per contact. Windows support cost, $125.80 per laptop. Linux support cost, $18.87 per laptop. Difference, $106.93 per unit. On 24 million units annually, $2.57 billion support cost savings from eliminating Windows. Hardware costs favored Linux by $44 per unit component flexibility without Windows requirements. Zero Windows licensing saved $58 per unit. Manufacturing efficiency saved $14 per unit faster installation process. Total per unit savings, $222.93. On 24 million units, $5.35 billion annual benefit from Windows elimination. ASUS's PC business generates approximately $16 billion annual revenue. Savings of $5.35 billion improves margin by 33.4 percentage points. Transformative profitability improvement that made the decision obvious. The ROG Gaming Linux decision that shocked everyone.
You boot up your PC to game with friends. Windows forces an update. 45 minutes later, your Discord is blowing up and you're still staring at this screen working on updates. 73%. Now, just a few weeks ago, Microsoft's first update of 2026 bricked thousands of PCs. We're talking black screens, boot failures, Outlook not wanting to open. Microsoft's official solution? Uninstall.
The most surprising part of ASUS's announcement was including ROG, Republic of Gamers gaming laptops. Industry consensus was gaming laptops must have Windows because PC gaming requires Windows. ASUS shattered that assumption. ROG laptops are going 100% Linux too. ASUS's gaming division ran extensive testing. December 2025 equipped 12,000 beta testers globally with ROG laptops preloaded with customized Linux distribution optimized for gaming. Results exceeded all expectations. Game compatibility through Proton, Valve's Windows compatibility layer for Linux, was excellent. Of Steam's top 500 games, 427 worked perfectly on Linux. 51 more worked with minor tweaks. Only 22 didn't work primarily competitive shooters with aggressive anti-cheat. Valorant, Rainbow Six Siege, that's 95.6% compatibility. For vast majority of gamers, Linux plays their entire library. The 4.4% of games that don't work are mostly competitive titles with kernel-level anti-cheat that deliberately blocks Linux. Those anti-cheat systems are controversial even among Windows users. Many gamers consider them invasive. Performance surprised testers most. Same hardware. Linux versus Windows 11. Identical game settings. Average frame rates. Linux 7. 14% higher than Windows across tested titles. Why? Lower OS overhead. Windows 11 runs extensive background services, telemetry, Defender, Copilot monitoring, Windows Update, all consuming CPU and RAM that could go to games. Linux runs minimal background processes, more resources available for games. The performance advantage is real and measurable. Specific examples from ASUS testing. Cyberpunk 2077 on RTX 4070 laptop. Windows 11 averaged 87 frames per second. Linux averaged 96 frames per second, 10% improvement. Elden Ring. Windows 68 frames per second. Linux 76 frames per second, 12% improvement. CS 2. Windows 287 frames per second. Linux 321 frames per second, 12% improvement. Total War. Warhammer 3. Windows 71 frames per second. Linux 81 frames per second, 14% improvement. Across 150 games tested, Linux matched or exceeded Windows performance in 147. Only 3 games ran slightly slower on Linux, 0 to 3% difference. Battery life during gaming improved dramatically. Same ROG laptop, same game, same settings. Windows 11 battery lasted 2.1 hours average. Linux lasted 2.9 hours average. That's 38% longer battery life. Reason: Linux's better power management and lower background overhead. For mobile gaming, that difference is significant. ASUS's beta testers reported 89% satisfaction with Linux gaming. Comments consistently praised performance improvements, longer battery life, no Windows Update interruptions mid-game, lower system temperatures, less fan noise, faster boot times. Only complaints were about specific incompatible games, but 95.6% compatibility meant most gamers could play everything they wanted. ASUS's conclusion: gaming on Linux is not just viable, it's superior for most users. Better performance, better battery life, better experience. Only hardcore competitive players in specific games need Windows. For 90% plus of gamers, Linux is better choice. That analysis justified including ROG and Linux-only strategy. ASUS is betting Linux gaming is ready for mainstream. Their testing suggests they're right. The Microsoft final desperation offer. ASUS's decision triggered Microsoft's most desperate response yet. Microsoft's OEM partnerships team contacted ASUS June 3rd with extraordinary offer. Completely free Windows licenses forever, zero cost, $800 million annual marketing development funds, Microsoft engineers embedded in ASUS support centers at Microsoft's expense to handle Windows support tickets, $2 billion payment to ASUS just for continuing Windows pre-installation on 50% of units. Total value, approximately $3.2 billion annually. Microsoft was offering to pay ASUS $3.2 billion per year to keep selling Windows. Discussion lasted 40 minutes. Decision was unanimous rejection. ASUS CEO SY. Hisu personally delivered response to Microsoft executives. Your offer values Windows relationship at $3.2 billion annually. Our analysis shows eliminating Windows saves us $5.35 billion annually, plus unmeasurable brand value from higher customer satisfaction. Even at your generous offer, Windows costs us $15 billion more than Linux. Additionally, Windows laptops scored 28% customer satisfaction. We cannot sell products that disappoint 72% of customers, regardless of financial compensation. Damaging ASUS's brand reputation has costs that exceed any payment Microsoft can offer. The decision to eliminate Windows is final and non-negotiable. Microsoft tried one more approach, offered to acquire 15% of ASUS for $12 billion, with stipulation that ASUS maintain Windows on minimum 40% of products for 5 years. ASUS rejected within hours. Chairman Johnny Shee's statement was blunt. Microsoft wants to pay us to sell products our customers hate. That's not partnership. That's attempted sabotage of our business strategy. We're building ASUS's future on Linux. Microsoft is trying to pay us to damage that future. We're not interested at any price. Microsoft's final threat was restricting ASUS's access to Microsoft 365, Azure, and enterprise products for resale. ASUS generates approximately $1.8 billion annually from Microsoft enterprise reseller agreements. Losing that would hurt. ASUS responded by announcing expanded partnership with Google. ASUS would become premier Google Workspace and Google Cloud reseller in Asia Pacific. Google immediately offered $2.3 billion annually in revenue guarantees, more than ASUS was making from Microsoft resales. ASUS told Microsoft, "Terminate our agreements. We have better partnership with Google. You're the one who loses." Microsoft backed down completely. Every threat was empty. Every offer was rejected. ASUS was committed to Linux regardless of financial incentives or consequences. Microsoft had zero leverage. They lost ASUS with no path to recover them. Where this stands: Windows pre-installation market share, 6%, down from 82% in January 2023. That's 7.6 percentage point. Collapse in 42 months. 94% of PC manufacturing capacity is Linux default or Linux only. Microsoft's consumer Windows revenue collapsed from $22 billion fiscal 2023 to projected $2.1 billion, 91% decline. The Windows empire didn't crack, it shattered. Bill Gates sees this as preventable tragedy. Microsoft had 3 years to fix Windows 11's quality problems. They chose not to. Prioritized AI features, cloud revenue, subscription services, ignored the foundation reliable operating system that customers want to use. Every manufacturer gave Microsoft opportunities to improve. Microsoft offered money instead of quality. Money doesn't fix broken software. Manufacturers made rational economic decisions. Sell products customers love or sell products customers hate. They chose the former. That meant eliminating Windows. The empire Gates built is gone. Windows dominated personal computing for 30 years. That dominance ended in 36 months because Microsoft stopped caring about product quality. The collapse was rapid because manufacturers moved collectively once they realized Windows was unsalvageable. Dell's initial move validated that Linux works at scale. HP's move confirmed it wasn't isolated. Lenovo's 100% commitment proved its viable strategy. ASUS's decision completed the cascade. No major manufacturer remains Windows first. The ecosystem rejected Windows unanimously. If this showed you ASUS ditching Microsoft, share it, because Microsoft won't advertise the fourth largest PC manufacturer eliminated Windows completely. That 94% of PC manufacturing is Linux default. That customer satisfaction for Windows is 2, 3, 30, 1% across all brands. That support costs are 6-8x higher. That returns are 5-7x higher. That Microsoft offered ASUS $3.2 billion annually, and they rejected it. That retail is eliminating Windows from physical stores. That Windows market share collapsed to 6%. That Bill Gates demanded leadership accountability and was ignored. The Windows empire cracked. The crack became collapse. And Microsoft's leadership has no strategy except watching Windows die while denying responsibility. That's ASUS ditching Microsoft. That's Windows ending. That's the empire Gates built, destroyed by leaders who prioritized everything except what mattered: building software people actually want to use.